is Confident. Welcome to our revision sessions, and today I'm looking at those who are preparing for their final exams, and whether you're doing your grade 11 or grade 12, this particular section is very important for you. Hence, I emphasized that this is very necessary for you. Now, I chose to focus on algebra, and this is part 2 of question 1, whereby I look at the whole question 1 and show you how you could have approached it if you were sitting for that particular exam. Remember, question 1 is actually based on grade 11 work, but it is also examined in grade 12. And as well as those work doing grade 11, it is very important for you to do. Now, you don't want to struggle in question 1. You don't want to find already yourself losing marks in the first question, because what it does is psychologically it plays a negative kind of influence on you, making you feel like you have already failed the exam when you start struggling already from the first question. And when you have that feeling that you are getting things wrong, you lose that kind of motivation and that kind of drive to go throughout the whole paper, and you end up even making more unnecessary errors. So if you can master the techniques that are needed for you to answer question 1, and you do as much practice as possible, trust me, it will be handy for you in that particular exam. And algebra can come in any form, any type, any shape, any size. Hence, the more practice on algebra, the better. It's not easy for you to say this is the question that they can bring along. They can bring anything, but it is important therefore for us to keep on doing revisions on this. Also, before I begin the lesson, if you have not subscribed to our channel, I will encourage you to subscribe to our channel. If ever you have been benefiting from these videos, you can leave us even a comment or any kind of math that you feel like we can assist you, or any question that you need some assistance with, and we will gladly do so after reviewing some comments. Though sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but don't despair. And there is a notification bell which you can actually activate, so that whenever there is a new video, you can be notified of these new videos. So I'll encourage you also to share this channel with your friends if ever they have not discovered this channel. Remember, sharing is caring. Don't benefit alone. Share so that others can also benefit. And this channel is for those who say, I'm struggling with my mathematics and I need something that I can rely on that is beside my own teacher. Sometimes you might find that you don't even understand your own teacher, but through this channel you can watch these videos, you can repeat them more than once. I mean, you can repeat them even 1,000 times if possible, and the more you repeat, the better you become at these algebra equations. Now, let us then look at one of the questions that I took from an old paper, and as I said, the emphasis here is on question number 1. So we are revising question 1. Now let us look at question 1.1. It says we are supposed to solve for x. So that's why we call it algebra, because mainly you are solving for x. Now 1.1.1 as our first one, you are given this problem and it's 4 marks, and you are supposed to solve there for x. So if I can, because my space allows me, so what I have is you have x minus 3, x plus 5, and that is equal to 9. So this is what we have. So what you need to do then is for you to expand this. So remember, when you're expanding, you're opening the bracket, so the x will multiply that x, and the x will multiply the 5, such that you have got x times x is x squared, x times positive 5 is 5x. Then the next one is minus 3 multiplies that, and minus 3 multiplies that. Minus 3 times x is negative 3x, minus 3 times 15 is negative 15. This will give you a 9. Now this is mainly whenever you're dealing with question 1, remember what to look for is you are dealing with quadratic equations. So whenever you see the x squared, just know it's a quadratic equation. Take it to the other side, 9, so that you've got x squared plus 5x minus 3x minus 15 minus 9, this gives you a 0. Now when you say negative 15, negative 9, just to see what it gives us, it's negative 24. So what we have therefore is x squared. Now 5x minus 3x is actually 2x, and minus 15 minus 9, which is negative 24, is equal to 0. Please use your calculator. Avoid using your mental knowledge, because at this stage you are panicking. It's your final exam and you don't know if ever you're doing the right calculations by head. So rely on your calculator so that you also don't exhaust yourself thinking things that are unnecessary. Now, there are many ways you can solve this. You can solve it by inspection. You can solve it by the what do you call this one? Completing a square. But I always encourage students to use the quadratic equation, which means you need to go to your formulas and identify the quadratic equation so that you can write it properly. So now remember the general form. This is 1, so it's ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So now you need to identify what is your a. You can see there my a is 1. What is my b? My b is plus 2. And what is my c? My c is negative 24. So your a is 1, your b is 2, and your c is minus 24. As simple as it is very important for you to do such so that you don't make errors. 4 marks, you want to make sure that you pocket that one. So the formula says minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we have got our x is equal to, let me just do it below here. So what we have is our x is equal to minus, and my b there is a 2, plus or minus square root of 2 squared minus 4, and my a is a 1, my c is negative 24 all over 2, and my a there is a 1. So which then gives us, you use a calculator, you're going to get two values of x. Remember that the calculator in this case plays a role for you. Minus bracket 2, start with a positive, plus, which is square root of 2 squared minus 4, my a is 1, my c is negative 24, and then over 2a, 2, and my a is 1. When you do that, the first one, x is equal to 4, then do the other one, put the negative, and x is minus 6. So x is equal to 4, or x is equal to negative 6. Remember, I told you can do inspection here, as I was telling you. You can actually come here, if I can work this up, to say the final one was x squared plus 2x minus 24 equal to 0. So when you solve it, you can do inspection, whereby you just do that to say you have x, you have x. Now factors of 24 that you can add so that they can give you 2 is 6 and 4. Now we need a positive that, we need a negative that. So that is how you can use inspection even to come up with those brackets. But usually I deal with those who say, you know what, I don't want to make errors. I'm not really good with my maths, but I need something that is standardized that I can follow so that I can reduce my errors. Then I will encourage the other method that I did below. That's what it does. So you've got the value of x. You can actually test your answer, which is very important. Remember, x is equal to 4. So in the original, you put your 4, so which is 4 minus 3 and 4 plus 5. It must give us 9. So there we get 9. The other one, the answer was negative 6. So he's saying negative 6 there. And again, negative 6. Do not leave your answer without testing it in question 1. That is suicidal of you, because you don't want to remember to lose any mark. So if you are going to get everything, test your answers wherever it's possible. Alright guys, now let's move on to the next one. This is an inequality problem. It says 1.1.2, we're done with the first one. Now looking at 1.1.2 here, and the question says 2x squared minus 2 is less than or equal to 3x. Now I'm going to bring in a new board so that we can work on this fresh. So what we have here is 2x squared, alright, and minus 2 is less than or equal to 3x. Alright, 2x squared minus 2 is less than or equal to 3x. So let me just check if that is that. Yes, that is 2x squared minus 2 is less than or equal to 3x. So that's what we're having. 2x squared minus 2 is less than or equal to 3x. So now it's an inequality problem, and whenever you're dealing with inequalities, remember, first thing is solve for x, get critical values. After getting the critical values, then use the sketch a graph that can now identify the answer that you're looking for. So how do you go about that? Take this 3 to the other side as a quadratic equation, as you can see, which would be 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 is, now make this symbol equal to 0. Okay, let's start by saying less than or equal to 0, but this means 2x squared, then if I can now write it properly now, not properly but as an equation, it's 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Why are we doing this? We want to get critical values here. CV, critical values is why I'm doing that. So when you have gotten that, to say this is equal to 0, solve for x. I keep on emphasizing, quadratic equation is my guide to go. So I match it with the original equation, and the original equation is ax squared plus bx plus c, that is the basic of that. It will help you find your a, it will help you find your b, and it will help you find your c. So my a here is 2, my b here is negative 3, and my c here is negative 2. So that's what you're having. So then when you input that in the quadratic equation, x is equal to minus b. Always write it down so that you can, as I said, avoid errors as far as possible. So, and avoid thinking too much by using your mental energy. Where there is the calculator used, just use the calculator. So we've got our x is equal to minus b is minus, look at the b there is negative 3, so we've got 2 negatives. You see that? That's where they want to catch you. Plus or minus square root of negative 3. Now don't put the square like that, you'll get it wrong. Don't say b squared and say negative 3 squared. Don't do that. Always put brackets, because that is where most of the students make errors. Always have those brackets inside, and the square must be outside the brackets. So minus 4, again have a bracket there. You put your a, open another bracket for your c, which is negative 2, and this is over 2, and your a, again have a bracket and put your 2 there. This is the way I encourage you guys to approach this thing. Now when you've done that, just to divide my line, you come with your 2 answers. Remember, as I said, there are 2 answers for this. So the first one is a fraction, which is negative 3 plus, the first is a positive, I mean, square root of minus 3 squared, alright, minus 4, my a is 2, my c is negative 2, and then all over 2, and my a is a 2. So we are going to get these values. X is equal to 2, that's the first one. Delete, press a negative, and x is equal to negative half. So we've got x is equal to 2 here and x is equal to negative half. So these are the two answers that we're getting for our simplification there. You can test your answer. How do you test your answer? Take a calculator, and where there is into the original, where there is, x, you put that. So x is 2, so we've got 2 squared minus 3 2 minus 2. It must give us a 0, there it is, and the other one is 0 is negative half, which is negative 0,5. So minus 0,5, and even here it's minus 0,5. Why am I doing this? I'm trying to avoid as much errors as possible. That is true. So I'm avoiding as much errors because I want to make sure that while I keep testing my answers, I can detect quickly where I am going off track, instead of me going all the way down to discover that after the end of everything my answers were not correct. So keep testing where you can test while you're continuing with your particular question. So now these, as I said, what do we call these? We call these the what? The critical values. So these are called critical values. These are the ones that you're going to use on your number line sketch like that. So what you do is, on these critical values, remember negative half starts, so you have negative 0,5, and then we have got 2. Remember, this is a number line, it goes this direction and it goes that direction, so it's a number line there. So when you have done those critical values, then you test. What you're going to test is better to use this one here. We're going to test the signs. So what you do is you choose a number before negative 0,5, all the numbers that are before this. For example, negative 4. So you're going to say 2 bracket minus 4 squared minus 3 bracket minus 4. Any number that you want to choose, as long as it is less than negative 0,5 minus 2. So I chose negative 4 at the beginning. Now, if I put an equal sign, you see I'm getting a positive answer. Don't worry with the answer because you're choosing any number. So you focus on the sign. So I'm getting a positive. So you're going to put a positive there. Then I'm going to choose a number in between negative 0,5 and 2. So that particular number there, it can be 0 because there is 0 between negative and positive. So if I choose 0, put it on the calculator and say 2 bracket 0 squared minus 3 bracket 0 minus 2. You can actually see that this is negative. So I'm getting here a negative. Now I'm going to choose a number that is after 2. So I'm choosing any number on that section. So maybe 10. I'll choose a number after 2 is 10. So it's 2 bracket 10 squared minus 3 bracket 10 then minus 2. I'm getting a positive. Don't worry with the answer, just focus on the sign. I'm getting a positive. And it actually matches the pattern. It's either it's positive, negative, positive, or sometimes it can be in this version of negative, positive, negative. So it depends how you were testing. So this is the one that I got. Now when I've done that, I now can find my final answer. And the question, because I'm using that as the simplified one, it says 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 is less than or equal to 0. Now that sign less than, that is where now everything comes into play. You see, the sign less than is represented by the negative sign, because the word less than 0, anything that is less than 0 is negative, right? So if it's less than 0, it is negative. So which means you come to your sketch and look for the negative area. So this is the region that you're looking for. Now because that is the region that you're looking for, how do you write your final answers? Now you have negative 0,5 and you have 2. in the center you write your x, and then you have those signs like that. So it's negative 0,5 is less than or equal to x, x is less than or equal to 2. This is how you put your answer across. So that's how you solve this inequality. Now check my other lessons whereby if this was your region, okay, actually let me just quickly do it for you while we're still here. Let's say for argument's sake the question was, remember now this is for argument's sake, now this is not the true one. Let's say the question was 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. Previously we had less than or equal to 0. What to do? Remember our critical values, we did test them. So it was like this. I'm just following off what we just did. Nothing changes on the critical values. You've got negative 0,5 and you've got 2. And from the table you had positive, negative, positive. So this was positive. Let me just use a different pen. This was positive, negative, positive. Now, since the sign is saying it's greater than 0, so anything greater than 0 or is anything that is bigger than 0 is what? It's positive. So anything that is bigger than, is greater than, it's higher than 0, that thing must be positive. Okay, for example, 5 is greater than 0, but you cannot say minus 1 is greater than 0. So anything positive is greater than 0. So since greater than represents positive, our region is going to be here and our region is going to be here. Now look carefully now how I write the answer. This is, remember, it means our solution is going this direction because it's that. So I put an x and there is the sign and there is the number. Or our solution is going this direction. I put my x there, there is the sign and there is the number. So let me start on the first one. It's x, that is the sign there, and negative 0,5. So that is the first answer. Or the second one, it's x, there is the sign as you can see, and there is the sign and you write 2. Now because they were saying less than or equal to, you also just maintain the equal to version. So this is the second answer for that. So that's what you do when the answers are on the outside, not the inside. So it's either you have got this version or you have got that version of the answer. Now I hope this was in a way making some sense to you guys. Alright, now I have to erase this for the next question. Let us look at the next question. It's a simultaneous. Yeah, it's a simultaneous or simultaneous equation. So it's a simultaneous equation and we are solving for x and y. So okay, this was 4 marks. Now this is the big one, 7 marks. You don't want to miss anything there. You don't want to make a slight error there. You want to get everything first time correct. How do you approach that? It says 2 plus y is equal to minus 2x. Let's have that. So we have the first question, first equation is 2 plus y is equal to negative 2x. Alright, and minus 2x squared plus 8xy minus 2x squared plus 8xy. Alright, so it's negative 2x squared plus 8xy plus 42 is equal to y. So just to cross check to ensure that we didn't make errors. So the first one is 2 plus y is equal to negative 2x, which is correct. Then minus 2x squared plus 8xy plus 42 is equal to y. Minus 2x squared plus 8xy. Alright, so that is it. Now, what do? In inequalities, you put those dots to say this is equation 1 and that is equation 2. And you can see that our equation 1 is the simplest from those two. So what you do is you express or you make either x or y is subject of the formula, but choose a variable that is simpler. For example, in here we have 2 plus y is equal to negative 2x. You see that? Now I can make x the subject, but x is tied up to 2, so it means I must divide everything by negative 2. Why don't I simply make y the subject? Because it's a matter of taking to that side and it's done. No fractions, nothing. So which means my y is equal to minus 2x minus 2. Then this is equation 3. Now I'll give you a thing to say why are they doing such things. Look at your y is negative 2x and it's negative 2. That's where the confusion usually is. How you're going to treat those negative signs, that one and that one, when you start substituting into equation 3, is the one that will make or break your answer there. So you need to be careful, pay attention on how this is done, so that you can also not find yourself victim of these errors. Look at this. So I've got minus 2x squared. Now let me use a different pen now. Look at this. It's minus 2x squared, I write it as is, plus 8x, but where there is y, I've got my y now, which is bracket. Don't forget the bracket. It's minus 2x minus 2. That is where I've got my value for y. Remember, y is now minus 2x minus 2, and then plus 42 is equal to y again, and my y, I don't have to write y, I must write y in terms of x again, which is minus 2x minus 2. When you do this, that is where most of the errors occur in substitution. From here, just be careful with the negative sign and your answer will come out clean. So let us simplify then that. What you have is negative 2x squared. Now it's 8x multiplying that, so what you have is 8x multiplying that, so it's 8 times minus 2. Take the calculator please, multiply 8 times negative 2. You'll be surprised how easy you get the answers whenever you're not under pressure. You are like, it's not necessary to use a calculator, I know this. But if I can show you the errors students make in the final exam, they will say 8 times 2, you find that the student added and then they'll come up with maybe 10. You know, you ask yourself, where did I get this 10? It's because when you're under pressure, errors are inevitable. So use the calculator. Remember, your calculator is not under pressure here. So 8 times negative 2, negative 16. But don't forget, it's x times x again. Don't just multiply the numbers and then you find that your answer now is negative 16, like that. You say negative 16, and then next you're saying 8x times minus 2. You now remember it's similar, so you're like negative 16x. You see, you made an error here. It's 8 times 2, but the x also needs to be multiplied, which is x squared. So it's 16x squared because there are 2x. You can see that. Alright, 8 and 2. So you multiply the numbers, you also multiply the letters. And then 8x, 8 times negative 2 again is negative 16x plus 42. Now take that back and take that, which is plus 2x plus 4. Now group everything together. Now this is equal to 0. Group everything, so it's minus 2x squared, right? Minus 16x squared, already is together. And then, so we've got that and that, minus 16x. It's better to underline with a pencil, you will erase at the end of the day. Then after that is positive 2x, so that you ensure that you don't leave anything there, plus 42 plus 4 is equal to 0. Then you go back and check whether you did, by looking at what you're underlining, look for anyone that you did not underline. It means you did not also include it. Then after that, simplify. Again, use the calculator. I know you're going to argue with me and say, but I know what is the simplification of that. But I say, use the calculator, please. So it's minus 2 minus 16. Remember, we're dealing with x squared now. So it's minus 2x squared minus 16x squared. So it's common, which is minus 2 minus 16. It gives me negative 18. So this is minus 18x squared. We do the same thing, calculator. And you are now saying minus 16 plus 2. And you've got negative 14. But it's negative 14x. And then 42 plus 4. Back to that. I know some are saying, come on, do I really need to add that? It's your choice, but if you want to ensure you lose nothing, it's good for you to do that. Then after that, you can see that we can simplify. It's up to you whether you can divide everything by 2 so that you can find the simplified, what do you call this? You can divide by 2 if you want, but it's not necessary. So the thing that you need to do is to then have your quadratic equation, as I was saying. So what is the quadratic equation? Again, you match it, as I say, to say always have the standardized form to say ax squared. It's ax squared plus bx plus c. That gives you a 0. And now you can see what is your a. There is your a there. A is minus 18. And then there is your b. You can see that b is minus 14. And there is your c. And c is positive 46. So you'll have your a being negative 18. Your b being negative 14. And your c being 46. As I said, you can actually input it straight like that. Your answer will still be correct. So what we have is x is equal to, so if you write your equation here, say x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember, they give you this formula in the exam, so you need to go back to the formula sheet and check it out. So it is going to be minus, in this case. Now your b is also negative. You see, you've got 2 negatives. So it's minus 14 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is in brackets, don't forget, negative 14 squared minus 4. Our a again is negative. So it's negative 18. And then our c in this case is 46. And then all over 2. And then our a again is negative 18 because it's that's what we have. So x there, if you use the calculator now to get the answer, it will be minus bracket negative 14 plus square root of negative 14 squared minus 4, my a is negative 18, my c is 46, all over 2, and my a is negative 18. Do that. I'm getting a funny answer there. Let me check if ever everything I put it properly there. So the b is negative 14 plus negative 14 squared minus 4, and my a is negative 18, and my c is 46. Let me just see if ever that was done properly. Okay, I see now. You see now, I see already an error that I'm picking up here. Just look at this. That's why I'm saying this, sometimes you find yourself writing errors and you ask yourself, where did I get the error? Now, I managed to take this to the other side, but after crossing it was 2x, now it becomes a plus 4. Now, where I got the plus 4, I also don't know how I did that. So now, the negative 2 here, when it jumps, it becomes simply a positive 2, not a 4. So in here, it's an error that I made. It's supposed to be negative 2. So it changes everything when you do that, usually, as we say, the examiners don't bring something that complicates. It's plus 2. They bring in something that you can actually like tell that there's something wrong with that answer. So it's plus 2 there. So it's 44 instead of 46. So in here, I'm going to have 44 equal to 0. And even everything that I was doing, I must just change where there is, it becomes 44 there. Alright, so now even there is 44. Now I can use the calculator, try again, and see what it gives me. Is minus bracket minus 14 and then plus square root of negative 14 squared minus 4. My a is negative 18. My c is the one which has 44, not 46. Remember that. Then all over 2, and my a is negative 18. Now let's try that one. Okay, give me a much better answer. Is negative 11 over 9. Don't forget that, negative 11 over 9. If it's a negative one, it's 2. So x is equal to negative 11 over 9, or x is equal to 2. So this is what I have for my x. But remember, this is not the final answer. After getting that for your x, you go back to the original, and in the original I've got equation 3. Look at equation 3 here. Equation 3 has got the value for y, and it says in here y is equal to minus 2x minus 2. So now then you say when x is equal to, the first value is negative 11 over 9, then you find your y is equal to, then you solve that to say it's negative 2 bracket negative 11 over 9, that is the value of x I got, minus 2. So my y is equal to, then you have that to say negative 2 bracket negative 11 over 9, alright, minus 2. It gives you 4 over 9. It's positive. So that's the first part. The second part, when y is equal to negative 2x minus 2, and again when x is equal to 2, so what you have is y is equal to negative 2 minus 2, and again using our calculator we have negative 2 minus 2, it gives you negative 6. Alright, so that's what we have. Then when you are writing now your final answers, you write them as when x is, so you've got that, you can write them in coordinates form. X is 11 over 9, right? And what is y? Y is 4 over 9. That's the first pair. And the second pair is when x is 2, y is negative 6. Now we need to test these answers. For example, when x, the simpler one, when x is 2, y is negative 6, go and test it in the original equations. So let's go back to the original equations. The original equations are here. So we have when x is equal to 2, y is negative 6. Actually, let me do this. When x is equal to 2, y is negative 6. The other one, when x is equal to that, I remember y was 4 over 9. Now, let me just check when x was negative 11 over 9. So it's negative 11 over 9. Now we need to test into both equations just to see if ever we're getting the same answer. Let's start with the first one. When x is 2, actually don't test in the first equation, test in the second one, the most complicated one, for when x is 2. So you've got minus 2 and bracket x squared, which is 2 squared, I'm using the first value, plus 8, x is 2 and y is negative 6, that is 8xy, plus 42 equal to negative 62. I think now I need to be careful here how I substitute it. So it's negative 2, y is 2 squared, plus 8, you see x is 2, y is negative 6, and then plus 42 is equal to, this was supposed to give me a negative 6. So something is wrong with the way I think I did my answer. Let me just check again. We said here, when x was negative 2, when x was 2, y was negative that, so it's negative 6. So it's supposed to actually give the answer there. But if it's not giving you the answer, it means you did wrong your own substitutions. Let's try the second one. Now, in the second one, I've got negative, x is negative 11 over 9, so it's minus 2 bracket, x is negative 11, I think I see where I made a mistake, negative 11 over 9, this is squared, I think in the previous one I did in square, plus 8, my x again is negative 11 over 9, alright, and multiplied by y, and y is 4 over 9, alright, plus 42, this must give me the value of y, which is 4 over 9. I'm also getting something different. So it means here there is some error that I did with my substitution, plus 8 minus that, 4 over 9 plus 42 is that. So now it means I need to come back to the question just to check again where might I have made my errors. Now to check with equation 3, to say equation 3 is properly done, to say I took that, to say minus 2x minus 2, and also to check my expansions there, a times that, which is correct, and that times that is correct, plus 42, and then you've got plus 2x plus 2, minus 2x squared minus that is negative 18x, minus 14x, plus 44 is equal to 0. So you have got here x being negative 18, negative 18a is that, and my b is negative 14 and my c is 44. Now if we do that again, if I can substitute into the equation minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 minus a and c over 2a. Now let us substitute that again. I don't see any error here, to say minus 14 plus square root of bracket negative 14 squared minus 4, a is negative 18, a minus 4a, c is 44, all over 2, and a is negative 18. So as I said, with the simultaneous equation, that's what you always find yourself struggling with these answers, because they play around on the negative. Actually, I'm getting new answers now. X is minus 2. Don't know what I did wrong in the other one. Put a negative, and x is 11 over 9. So I don't know how I interchanged this. It's the other way around. instead of negative 11 over 9, I'm supposed to get 11 over 9. And instead of negative 2, it says the answer is actually 2. Now I'm going to erase everything down here because it's based on wrong, so it's better to erase everything and write it afresh. Let's do it again. It says when in here x, so you've got y is equal to, remember equation 3 minus 2x minus 2, so it's minus 2x minus 2. Then when x is equal to 11 over 9, let's start with that. So we've got y is equal to minus 2, x is 11 over 9, now it's positive minus 2. So what is the value of y? If you do that, it will give us negative, actually it's negative 2 bracket 11 over 9, see that, minus 2, which is negative 40 over 9. So it's minus 40 over 9. And then try the other one when x is, again it's y is equal to minus 2x minus 2. Now when x is equal to 2, so you have y is equal to negative 2, 2, and then it's minus negative 2, 2 minus 2, y is equal to, I think again I'm writing this thing wrong. The other answer was x was negative 2, not positive 2. See, I'm writing it wrong now. So when x is negative 2, so y is equal to negative 2, which is negative 2, negative 2 minus 2. So y is equal to 2 in this case. So this is what we are having. Now if I can correct then these answers here, I had it was x was equal to 11 over 9, it's positive. And then y is equal to negative 40, so it's minus here, it's minus 40 over 9. And when x is negative 2, the value of y here, you saw that it's actually positive 2. So these are the answers that now I need to bring in. The simpler one is minus, when x is negative 2, then y is equal to positive 2. You saw how that changed. And then when x was positive, not negative 11 over 9, when x is 11 over 9, y is minus 40 over 9. Now let's test it again into the original, the one that is long, which is negative 2 bracket, where there is x squared, I'll start with minus 2 squared plus 8, x is minus 2, y is 2, plus 42, it must give me a value of y, and y, remember, is 2. So this one is working for the first time. This is correct. Let's play back and now change where there is x, it's minus, where there is x, now I put 11 over 9, x squared plus 8, where there is x again, it's 11 over 9, do that, and it's 11, 8, 11 over 9, and then multiplied by negative 40. Okay, let me do that. Negative 40 over 9 plus 42, it must give me the value of y, which is minus 40 over 9. So there it is, minus 40 over 9. So these answers are now correct, and that is how you test. And I will emphasize to say, In as much I know it took much long, I also make errors and stuff. This is real. I'm working on this real time, and just to show you that it's easy for you to find yourself making those errors, but testing your answers is very important. But when you find you're in a final exam and it happened what it happened to me right now when I was working on this, you don't want to spend a lot of time, like 30 minutes working on a simultaneous equation. You won't finish your exam. Leave the question whenever it starts getting complicated. You will come back when there is an extra time. Otherwise, you will forfeit other marks because you will not have finished that exam. Now, having done that, so we are done with this question 2. Let's look now at question number 3. Let me erase here. We are now looking at, we're still on question 2 of course, but I'm looking at question 1.3 now. It's 3 marks. So it says if f of x is equal to 4x, square root of 4x, and g of x is equal to x squared, determine f g9. So what usually happens is you split this. You start from the inside going outside. So I'll work from here to say first you've got g of x, am I right? And g of x is x squared. Now if I say what is g of 9, we are going to say 9 squared, which is equal to 81, right? Then if I say what is f of g of 9 is equal to f. Now you remember you are given, before that let me just say what is f of x. Remember is square root of 4x. Now what is f of g of 9? So remember I said we are working inside out. So g of 9, this will be equal to f. Where there is g of 9, we have that. It's f of 81. That's what you are having now, because g of 9 is 81. So which is equal to, and you have got f of x here as, remember this is f of x, so which is square root of 4x. So f of 81 is equal to square root of 4 times 81. That's what you're saying, which is equal to, then you take a calculator and say what is the square root of 4 into 81. The answer is 18. So the answer there simple gives you an 18. So that is how you are solving that. You get your 3 marks for that. And then moving on, let us look at the next one. The last question is question 1.4. For you to get your 22 marks, which is very important, it's 4 marks on this one. So let's look at question 1.4. Question 1.4 says if 14 over square root of 63 minus square root of 28 is equal to a root b, determine without using a calculator. You see, the moment they say don't use a calculator, that's when I use a calculator. Determine the value of values, meaning it can be more than one, of a and b if a and b are integers. Are you getting that? So what you do, take a calculator, because they say without the use of a calculator. Now take the calculator, have that and see what it gives you. 14 over square root of 63 minus square root of 28, right? And then it gives me, there is the answer, 2 root 7. So this is equal to 2 root 7. So you can see my a here according to the calculator is 2, my b is 7. So I just need to work towards that, you know. So let me write it down. It's 14 over, it's 14 over square root of 63 minus square root of 28. So it's square root of 63 minus square root of 28. So this is what I'm given and I'm supposed to simplify. So you need to, this is more of a lesson in your grade 11, whereby when you're simplifying sets, what you must remember is when you multiply sets by the inverse of, remember I'm looking at the bottom, I'm more like rationalizing. So if I've got square root of 63 minus square root of 28, if I multiply by the inverse, meaning if I multiply the bottom by square root of 63, instead of minus, it's plus square root of 28. I'll remove the square roots at the bottom. But what you do on the left, you do on the right. So it's square root of 63 plus square root of 28. In fractions, what you do on top, you do below. So if I multiply the bottom and the top by that, so what will I be having? So it means here I have equal to 14 multiplying square root of 63 plus square root of 28 over square root of 63 minus square root of 28 multiplying square root of 63 plus square root of 28. Alright, so which is equal to, when you do this, it will be 14 square root of 63 plus 14, which is the next one there, square root of 28 all over. The first one is that, which is root 63, in between is multiplication, of course, and then plus is the next one, which is root 63 root 28. Alright, and then the other one is this one, which is minus root 28 root 63. I'm doing that purposefully, and then minus a root, which is this one now, the last one I'm expanding, which is root 28 root 28. Now look at this one here that I just did. In that, you can see that this cancels and that cancels, because it's a difference of two squares in this case. So what I have now, if you look also at square root of 63, if you do this and say what is square root of 63, square root of 63, you can see that is 3 root 7, meaning it is square root of 9 times 7, you see, which is 3 root 7. So here I'll write as 14 square root of 9 times 7 minus 14, what about 28? You say square root of 28, you see there is 2 root 7, but 2 is 4, so it's square root of 4 times 7, which is 2 root 7. So over square root of 4 times 7, remember they say don't use a calculator. Now square root of 63 times square root of 63 is 63. Square root of 63 times square root of 63, you see I get the number. So this will be 63 minus square root of 28 times square root of 28 is 28. So if I do that, I have now 14 bracket 3 root 7 minus 14 bracket 2 root 7 over, now 63 minus 28, you can use a calculator, and I mean no one can prove that you used a calculator just to separate that. So this is 35. I've seen that. Then 14 times 3, use a calculator to multiply that. 14 times 3, you are getting 42. 14 times 2, you are getting 28. But now look at this. You have got square root of 7, you have got square root of 7. You can factorize that one out. So I'm going to take square root of 7 out. I'll have 14 times 3, which was 42, minus 28, which was 14 times 2, over 35. I'm seeing that. Then if I continue, which is equal to square root of 7, 42 minus 28, as I say, no one can tell I'm using calculator to subtract. I mean anyone can subtract, which is 14 over 35. It's 14 over 35. Remember our answer that we got, if I can just go back to the answer in this case was 2 root 7. So we must approach the answer for 2 root 7 in that case. Now, actually, also an error here that I'm making because it's not going there. Look at this. I'm supposed to add on top, not subtract. So this is the positive sign. It's supposed to be positive. So there is a positive sign there. And then even here, it's a positive sign. So instead of 42 minus 28 is 42 plus 28. It's supposed to be that. 42 plus 28, it's 70 there. So I will correct that to say it's actually bracket 70 over 35. Just to follow what we have here like square root of 7 bracket 70 over 35, which now makes sense. Now if you say in this case 35 into 70 is 2, so the answer there is 2 root 7, which is therefore my A root B is equal to 2 root 7, meaning A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 7. Not root 7, but remember B is inside, so B is equal to 7. So that is the simplification where it is taking us. So this is how you can approach your 22 marks in simplifying that. And as I said, guys, you can see I was also making quite a lot of errors time and again. I interchange where there is a negative and to a positive. It's because as I'm working through this, I also get exhausted. So that is what actually happens to you as a student. If you ask yourself, but why am I finding sometimes I think I'm working correctly while I'm in the exam, but come marks, I find I got lower than I expected. It's because you need to be vigilant, you need to get yourself more practice so that your brain can have much endurance, so that in the final exam, those 3 hours you are able to sit without feeling fatigue in the early hours of the test. You need to have fatigue, of course, but make sure that you pace yourself, and with more practice you'll be able to find yourself maybe towards the last hour, that's when you start feeling tired, and by then you would have actually passed the paper and you're working towards your distinction. Guys, we've come to the end of our lesson. Check out the question 1 that we did previously so that you can use these questions for your revision. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, do so now, and also share this with your friends. Thank you.